Okay, this is my Altoid Survival Tin version 1.0. I am making this. I'm a big fan of the Bushcraft USA website. You should check it out if you've never seen it before. And there's a thread on there where, excuse me, guys are challenging, or people are challenging other people to do certain challenges. And a guy on there named Civilization Dropout challenged me to make an Altoid survival tin. So I accepted the challenge, and I am giving it to somebody named Ranger Weaver with some challenges for him. So, Ranger Weaver, here is your survival tin. You have some challenges. One is make an improvement to this kit. There is spare room in this kit. I pack it different every time. This actually isn't the most efficient packing of the kit. I've had a couple packings where I've had a ton of extra space. So you got some room to work with too. So challenge 1 is make an improvement to the kit. Tell me what it is. Challenge 2, use what's in this kit to build a fire. Challenge 3, use what's in this kit to make some fishing rigs and try to use the fishing rigs. So let me take everything in here out and put them on display so I don't forget to talk about them as I distract myself talking. So I have done some survival training at various schools, excellent schools, and one thing they all talk about is the order of survival: shelter, water, fire, food. Some people add attitude to the top of that list. So I'm going to try and stick in that order here: shelter, water, fire, food. But I also got a couple additional items that really don't fit with that order. So let's talk about what I got in the kit. Swivels and hooks, as well as the tin, signal mirror, flashlight, rescue whistle. Here I have some lead weights in a straw. Here I have a ferro rod. Here I have some straws wrapped up with fishing line, maybe 50 or so feet of fishing line. There's definitely room for more. And inside each straw is some man-made tinder. Compass, water purification tablets, knife, kind of larger large size for a survival tin. I wanted to get something somewhat substantial. And a water bag or canteen. I think this might actually be one of the more unique items in my kit. So, the order. Well, okay. Survival sucks. I'm in the woods. I'm lost. I need to survive. It's not a fishing trip. It's not a hang around the campfire trip. It's I need to get out of this situation. So, I've got some extras here that don't really fit in that order, but they're really important. Signal mirror, right? So you can signal for help. This actually also doubles as a mirror to inspect yourself, right? You can check your eyes. If you get something caught in your eye, you can check your private parts for creepy crawlies and ticks and that sort of thing. Whistle. Now this is the kind of whistle. This is not all whistles are created the same. This thing will make your ears ring. And that's good, so you can be heard from far away and you're not wasting your energy screaming, making your voice hoarse, not giving up on screaming because it's not working. You can make a lot of noise with this thing. Compass, right? Now I know you're supposed to stay put if you're lost, so personnel can find you and you don't get yourself more lost, but occasionally you need to wander or self-rescue, so compass is there to help with that, along with some knowledge on navigation, and maybe some natural navigation techniques and dead reckoning and that sort of thing. Flashlight's kind of a unique item just based on experience. It's nice to have eyeballs in the dark. Sometimes you just need to have eyeballs in the dark. So there's your rescue items. I'll put those to the side. Next, water. So I think this is kind of a unique feature of my kit. I've included some water purification tablets. There's 2 tablets per little package here. So we got 8 water treatments here. I personally don't do a lot of chemical treatment. I did when I did some backpacking in Colorado. Now I just boil water in a metal container. Try to make that my primary, or if I have a water filter, that's even better. But this is everything that fits in the kit, so that does not include a metal water container unless you want to try to boil water in this. Good luck. So, in my opinion, you're lost in the woods, a waterproof container is a hard thing to come by on short notice. Now, if you're lost by a water source, which you need to maybe be able to utilize the fishing kit, you're probably around some trash, and you probably can scrounge up some sort of water container. You can always make a water container, right? If you have an axe, you can carve something out, a big container. If you can make a fire and try and burn a bowl, But those things are time-intensive processes, and once you get a container, well, you can treat it with this, or you can try to boil water with like hot rocks or something. And that's probably something you should be working towards if you're going to be stuck in your situation for a while. But to get you to that point, I included these. Now, interesting feature with this bag here is some bags I ordered on Amazon. The brand on the bag name is Whirlpack, and the actual original bag is a lot longer, and they're sealed. So Ranger Weaver, I'll include one of these for you since this bag is not sealed. And I played with it a little, and as you can see, I'm in my garage. You may not trust my sanitation methods. What I did was I cut it to 0.75 liters, which is the amount of water one of these tabs treats, which isn't a whole lot of water. This line here is the 0.75 liter line, and the bottom of this is kind of a self-standing bag. So I did that so that you're not wasting your tabs under treating or treating too small volumes of water, and you're not putting yourself at risk by diluting your treatment by a larger volume of water than what you're supposed to be treating. So if you make your own container, you might have trouble knowing if you got 0.75 liters or not. So that's why I included this. Hopefully this lasts. Hopefully this doesn't rub little holes as it vibrates around in your kit. And once you actually start using it, I wouldn't count on it lasting forever. But water, this should get you down the road with water, assuming you have a source of water. Fire. Here's your fire kit. Ferro rod, the knife if you need to. I hate striking a ferro rod with a knife, something about it. I don't know. And then I've got these man-made tenders inside these straws. So what these man-made tenders are is I'm a big fan of these Baddest Bee fire fuses. They're these like waxy, impregnated things. I'll pull one out here. That light great from a ferro rod. Here's one. And what you do is you vary the length depending on your conditions. Ideally, you don't use one if you don't need to. You use your ferro rod to light some feather sticks or some cedar bark or something. But if you're pressed for time or things are wet or you just need a little help, these things are awesome. So I've cut these a little short from what comes in the package, but one of these in one straw, so I got 4 of them in here. You should get more than one fire out of each one. You could probably get up to 4, maybe even more if you really stretched it, out of one tube. So these are pretty cool. I'll go ahead and light one here. I'll get my survival scissors out here and cut off a pretty short piece here. What you do, or what I do, is flare this out, and this stuff here on the end, that'll catch a ferro rod beautifully. So I kind of flare it out so it catches the ferro rod, and I leave the rest to burn like a candle. And you get a pretty good flame. So I'll go ahead and demonstrate this here on my char cloth box here, which you can use your container for to make char cloth to get even more fires out of your kit. If you don't know what char cloth is, there's 100 YouTube videos on it. Check it out. So I'm going to use the knife on the ferro rod. Now before I use the knife, I want to talk about this knife. This is a knife designed for Altoid tins. It's called Doug Ritter, and it's a CRKT knife. And it comes with this lanyard. You're tempted to cut the lanyard off. They actually say the lanyard here is part of the handle. You kind of wrap it around your hand and tighten it up to provide some stability and support while you use the knife. I like it, so I kept it on there. Of course, it's not working. I'm going to blame it on the limited range of motion I have, trying to keep everything on camera. Okay, there we go. So, you see that's a nice flame. That'll burn for a while. So definitely got some time to light up some damp, tender kindling that you might have available. So there's your fire kit. Shelter, water, fire, food. So I'm sure some of you know food is the least important. You're supposed to be able to live a long time without food, but man, having some protein would be good. I'll let this burn, maybe on this side here. So for food, I added a fishing kit. I have this little straw full of weights. So there's some lead shot of various sizes, and then I have one weight in here that's like this. It's like a weight with a little tie, brass tie thing at the end. So you can tie up various fishing rigs. Got the fishing line. Got the hooks and the swivels. And you're held in right now with Scotch tape. I recommend replacing that with duct tape, because then duct tape's useful for something like maybe repairing the holes in your water bag. And less obvious is the straws. The reason why I included these straws is they double as bobbers or corks. It's a trick I learned on the internet. So they keep your tinder dry, and I don't think these things dry out, but you may want to seal the ends of these, either with some tape or with the method we use to make the bobbers. You can keep these man-made tenders dry. There we go. So you can see how long that burned. That was great. Blow it out there. So I can't take credit for this bobber trick. Found it on YouTube, Survival Tech. I'll put a link so I don't take credit for other people's work. But it's pretty cool. You end up with something that looks like this. You just basically seal the ends of the straw, and you use part of the straw to make a little band. It's really hard to see, probably, to hold the fishing line to the bobber. And these are pretty small. I'll prove to you that they work. I'll put them in my fish tank. They'll hold up the weights. You can combine two of them if you have a heavier weight, or like we talked about before, if you're finding some trash and stuff, you might find a full-length straw and you can make a sturdier, floatier bobber. So the way you make these is first you cut off a little piece for your band here. So once again, I'll get my survival scissors here and cut off just a little sliver. Now you got to put the sliver on before you seal the ends, because the shape you make, you'll have trouble getting the sliver over. So let's pop this on, slide it down to the middle. Okay, we're close to the middle. So now I've got that little band on, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to seal the ends of these. Since I'm on camera in my garage, I'm going to use some needle nose pliers to pinch this shut, and then I'm going to melt that, close closed, you're going to need your fire to do this. And you might have to use some sticks or something, or use the metal on the Altoids container or something to get this nice pinch. I'm going to seal that up, check it out, make sure I don't have any little extra, any little holes or anything. Cool it off, flip it over, get the other side, make this a little longer because I cut it kind of uneven when I cut that sliver off. Melt that up good. Check it out. Let it cool off for a second. Now I got a bobber. Make a little loop like that. You stick the loop underneath that band, which is a skill you get a little better at each time. Unless you're filming yourself for YouTube, then you get worse at it. I pushed the loop through. It's hard to see, but push it through that band. And then what I'll do is I'll take the loop, I'll go around the bobber, I'll pull it tight. And it makes a little knot right there. It's called a prusik, maybe? Prusik knot. And you can actually slide the bobber up and down the line with that knot. It's pretty nice. So there you go. That's how you make your fishing rigs. Now, I want to prove to you these work in my aquarium. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie 2 rigs. I'm going to tie like the old-fashioned kind most people know, where you just have some weight dangling down from a bobber with a little lead shot to hold it down. And I'll make a more advanced one I learned recently called the Santee rig, which actually suspends the bait up from the bottom. So one dangles the bait down from the top, one suspends it from the bottom. And they're both really adjustable. The cool thing about the Santee rig that suspends from the bottom is you can adjust the depth depending on how much junk you have on the bottom of the creek. So let's start with that one. So that's why I included this weight. This is the weight that holds, this is it sits at the bottom of the creek. So you need to learn some knots. You could do a regular old fisherman's knot, or you could do a Palomar knot, if I'm pronouncing that right. I grew up fly fishing, so I grew up doing the fisherman's knot, but lately I've been using the Palomar knot because it seems like if hands are cold, if, I don't know, I'm not thinking straight because I haven't had any protein, it just seems more foolproof. So look up the Palomar knot. I'm not going to teach it to you. You wouldn't be able to see it anyways. Cut off the extra. So now I've got a weight and a bobber, and I'm going to put some bait in between the two. That's why I included the swivels. I could do kind of a prusik again. I'm going to make a loop with the fishing line. I'm going to stick it through the swivel. Hopefully. Okay. So now I've stuck it through. Got this loop here. I'm just going to loop it around the swivel and pull it tight. So you notice I did that right in the middle of the fishing line, right? I had a bobber on one end and a weight on the other, and I was still able to attach that swivel. Bobber, weight, swivel. And I can slide that swivel up and down. So for this itty bitty rig, more like a sunfish rig, I'm just going to hook the hook straight into the swivel. I could, you know, do something with this clip, take it off, or tie some fishing line to it and have it come out a little further, and that's actually the official way to do it, and then put a swivel and a hook on the end, or just a hook on the end. You could even use a piece of your straw on that line to keep it from getting tangled, to kind of help hold it away. But for today, I'm just going to put a hook straight on the swivel here. I've got these special hooks I made by cutting the sharp parts off, so I'm going to go put them in my aquarium. So just put the hook in the swivel. Oh, look, I found some bait. Lucky me. I just found some bait sitting around. So I'm going to put this bait on. And there we go. I've got the Santi rig. Weight, bait, cork. Now this cork here sits below the surface of the water. The only purpose of this is to straighten this out and keep the bait keep the bait off the bottom of the creek. You won't actually see that cork from the top. So there's rig one. Okay. You should include some scissors in the kit. Alright, so got that. Just take some lead shot. Clamp it on. And boom. Super simple fishing rig. Okay. Proof of life on the bobbers. Start with the fishing rig your grandpa probably taught you. Oh, I forgot to put the bait on it. Get the bait on the hook, the weight, and the bobber. Remember, I cut the hooks off. No fish, no aquarium fish were killed or injured in the making of this video. Just drop it in. And you can see it's floating. The bobber is vertical right now, which is, you know, good. You can see it when it goes down. You could always tie two bobbers together if you want to put more weight, or you could put the bobber horizontal. You just change it by sliding that band that attaches the fishing line up and down. Okay, rig number 2. This is the one that's really cool to see underwater. Weight, bait, cork. Remember, the cork does not float on the surface of the water. Its whole purpose is to keep this rig straight while it's underwater. See that? Tightens it out nice. Okay, that's it. Good luck, Ranger Weaver.